How Facebook, Google, and other tech giants are dealing with COVID misinformation. A year after the giant tech companies resulted in combating COVID misinformation, it is still persistent. There are over 200 groups on Facebook that are actively spreading misinforming content and encouraging vaccine hesitance. How are Facebook, Google, and other tech giants dealing with COVID misinformation? COVID-19 has been with us since November 2019. 20 months later, it is fighting and beating the systems. New variants are coming in continuously, and more restrictions are only causing people to flout more rules. There were quick responses to harmful COVID-19 misinformation by all the major tech companies, particularly Facebook, YouTube, Google, and Twitter. If you found an article on Twitter, you were only allowed to retweet by quoting, thereby forcing you to read to know what to quote and share it with. Prompts were asking to read before retweeting and fueling misinformation. The other video and document broadcasting channels vetted the content shared through SEO and keyword blocking. There were many things that the tech companies told the world and Congress that they would do to ensure that the situation was under control. However, the Center for Countering Digital Hate found 12 prolific accounts spreading misinformation about COVID-19 and promoting anti-vaccine content. 6 out of those accounts are still active on YouTube, despite Congress handing all the tech executives these names. So obviously, they can't be doing everything they say they are doing. The tech companies are interested in boosting content that gets the most interaction. Some mathematical equations called algorithms can guess your interest by what you search and pay attention to. The data then feeds you with those contents based on the guessed interests. Once the algorithm is aligned with your interest, you stay much longer than you intended to, and the company can show you lucrative ads that it is charging other companies big money for. After all, by agreeing to the terms and conditions of social media platforms, we give them the right to show us ads and make money off our presence. Sadly, the algorithm is causing deaths. They recommend these contents to other accounts to spend more time engaging with such content without checking. Some of these posts are COVID deniers and anti-vaccine preachers. The algorithm pushes them without verifying their content and the amount of research that went into it. These conspiracy theories are being lifted to the front by the algorithms created and managed by these social media companies, yet they are not up to speed in making changes. Some groups and accounts are visibly anti-vaccines, and they are still allowed to post and enjoy engagements. President Joe Biden said that a part of the blame is on social media companies. The tech companies are not as committed as they should be to the fight, and their lack of misinformation censorship was killing people. The United States is back to reinstating rigid mask rules and warnings due to COVID-19 cases rising. Just this week, the UK became a red zone, and people were not allowed to travel into the US if they were coming from or through the UK. The vaccine misinformation is to blame for Americans refusing to get vaccinated. The choice of refusing to vaccinate results in the millions of deaths that we have already recorded. What conspiracy theories do is that they lead a charge to distrust the government, scientists and their institutions, media, and other stakeholders. And the result is the deaths we see in the US. The social media companies have given us some statistics on their fight against COVID misinformation. Facebook reported that it had deleted over 18 million posts that contained vaccine misinformation since last year. The company collectively runs Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram. It said that its algorithms had been enhanced to cut out misinformation. Many people have turned to Google, who also owns YouTube, for information since the pandemic. The company said it would put information from the WHO and CDC at the top of their search lists for COVID-related searches. The company also blocked all ads that seemed to take advantage of the pandemic. Twitter also introduced a 3-strike system for all anti-vaccine peddlers. The company takes down the first 2 posts and then temporarily bans your account the 3rd time you post false COVID information. Trenton Kennedy, the spokesperson for Twitter, says that the company is bent on continuing its enforcement action on content that violates its COVID-19 misleading information policy. There are labels to the tweets found misleading about the virus. YouTube also reported that it has gotten rid of 900,000 videos that it found to break its COVID misinformation since 2002. Elena Hernandez, the YouTube spokesperson, says that the 12 accounts established as producing 65% of misleading data on their channel have had those specific content pulled down and received strikes that could lead to bans. It is not easy to wipe out misinformation. The companies are global and they have people connecting all over the world. Until now, once a post does not infringe on copyright, pornography, or bullying, they were allowed to flourish. The companies turned a blind eye to the conspiracy theorists for years. The flat earth theorists, the anti-vaccinators, the political propaganda was all well accepted until the 2016 Russia collusion scandal brought attention to the role of these companies in causing real-life harm. The companies said that some COVID-hesitant content was people expressing concern and not necessarily misinforming. So sometimes it is not black and white. Since many people were on lockdown and some are still locked in certain countries, social media usage increased. That is how video streaming platforms like TikTok and Zoom made a boost. Social media footprints were more extensive than ever since social media began when sharing cat and dog videos. The company had their staff working remotely, and everything was 3 times as much on each platform. So the majority of the fight against misinformation had to rely on automated systems and over 80 verification sources per article. Sometimes a typo could make a tweet or Facebook post about vaccines slip through the robust system. The real-life effect of this is that people were lonely at home and consuming information without cross-checking. The power of false information is that it takes your judgment away from you. The choice to make a decision is exchanged with a piece of illegitimate information that you consider worth following. This year alone, Mark Zuckerberg has appeared at 4 congressional hearings, and Jack Dorsey has appeared 3 times. Earlier in March, the tech executives appeared in Congress to answer their role in mobilizing Capitol rioters. There were accounts on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook that claimed that the presidential election was stolen from former President Donald Trump. The primary group was called Stop the Steal. The House was convinced that the tech executives, including Google's Sundar Pichai, did not build enough foundation to stop misinformation. Some of a U.S. campaign group, noted that platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter failed to prevent escalation of violence. The reports showed distrust of the legitimacy of the election results is due to algorithms, policies, and tools of these same platforms. The riots that happened in Washington at the Capitol building is one of the pivotal talks about tech giants failing to flag misinformation. The attackers mobilized and strategized on these sites. The potential for an anti-democratic attack on Congress through public media platforms was a tipping point for greater regulation. Trump was also leading a charge against the election results and putting out wrong information. Facebook removed Trump's account from their site, and Twitter banned him for life. Research has shown that last year alone, wrong information led to over 6,000 people being hospitalized with COVID-19. There were about 800 people who eventually died due to misinformation last year, and these are the numbers that were collected. A considerable number may have just slipped through the cracks of data. The Biden administration targeted 70% of adult Americans to have received 1 shot of the vaccine, and 160 million Americans will be vaccinated in the first week of July. That estimation was not realized, and the White House blames it for misleading information on Facebook and other platforms. There has been information deleted in the past. Still, sometimes those videos and posts gather over 1 million views before any action is taken, and the recreated versions are shared on other accounts on the same website. This new menace has revived talks of Congress moving to repeal Section 230, legislation that frees websites from any legal liabilities because they are not the publishers. Since the companies cannot be directly punished for any misconduct, they take the misinformation guidelines lightly. If they were liable for any deaths that are caused due to their negligence, then they might be more awake in dealing with COVID misinformation. Tell us what you have experienced on these platforms to believe that they may or may not be dealing with the misinformation. Do you agree that owners of social media companies should be legally liable for anything third parties published on their sites? Please share your thoughts with us in the comments. We enjoy hearing from you.